So, ich lasse jetzt nochmal durchlaufen. Ich glaube, irgendwie ist die Verbindung Richtung LinkedIn. So. So finally, hello everyone. Hello and thank you for being here. It's a LinkedIn live session from Dirk and myself, and we didn't know if we had the connection. So this is why we did this countdown thingy again. But I see all the comments of you guys. So I guess we are live now. So thank you for being here. Hello, and yes, it's starting. So my name is Jihan. I'm an IT demand manager at Porsche. I'm pursuing my part-time MBA with the CIO Young Talent Award at the WHU Otto Beisheim School of Management, and I'm trying to do new things on LinkedIn. And this is the very first time I'm being live on LinkedIn, and Dirk is taking his time to be here today with us. Dirk, welcome.
Thank you, Gian. Thank you. I don't know if it's a good sign to be the guinea pig and the first one testing. I take it as a good sign, and I feel honored. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it is a good sign. And before coming to the topic and before diving deep into the visions for 2021 of Dirk, I would like to tell you the story of Dirk and myself, because I think it's a story worth to tell. It's all about social media, actually. It was in May 2015 when I was working still for the Deutsche Bahn group in Frankfurt. And I traveled a morning from Dortmund to Frankfurt with the train, and I found an iPhone in the train, actually. And this iPhone, it was Dirk's iPhone. He lost his iPhone on the train. I found this iPhone, and I needed to rush to work. And I was like, hey, I don't know where to give this iPhone away, but I will find the one who's the owner of it. And later that day, I made a picture of that iPhone, because on the lock screen there were several entries, Mona Haare, birthday, and whatnot. I made a picture of that and said, okay, I just found this iPhone on the train in Frankfurt. Can we find the owner of that iPhone? And then social media exploded. And that afternoon, Dirk got back his iPhone. I got to know Dirk just with that occasion, actually. And this is how we came together. Ever since, Dirk and myself try to be in touch now and then. Some month ago, he was in Stuttgart. We saw each other again in person. It was very good to see him again. And when I was thinking about this live session, Dirk offered to be part of that. So he's here. You guys are here. We are feeling very honored, and we want to give you some insights and really valuable assets for your use, for your daily use, for your business. It's gonna be valuable. This is at the end of the day the invest of all of us. And yeah, Dirk, enough from my side. I would like to ask you now to introduce yourself to the audience. Who is Dirk Schülgen? How did you become the person you are today? And then we will jump into your visions.
Yeah, so how did I become the person who loses his iPhone on a train? That's a very good question. My parents would probably hit me losing some expensive device. But at that time, I traveled daily, at least between Frankfurt and Cologne, and the train becomes your second home. And I don't know, I just lost it. But it was super funny, and I'm still thankful that you got it. And maybe also another hint from that story. What blew me away still at that time is that social media was faster to identify me as the owner with the Sihan's post than it took me to go from the ICE Fernbahnhof at Frankfurt Airport, the train station, to get to the Nike headquarters, which was just one other train ride, one station away at the Frankfurt Stadium. So at that time, I opened my laptop and tried to go online to find my iPhone. I already had a message from a former colleague. So I don't know, amazing how that worked. Thank you again, Gian. So who am I? Yeah, it's a good question. I'm Dirk with the difficult umlaut last name Schülgen, and
I got two of them, so no worries.
It's not easy if you travel the US or other countries, but we have to fight for our names, Jan. So I'm 43 years old, and I did a lot of interesting things, I hope. Well, I at least think in my career. I started in my first job at a consultancy in Düsseldorf. The consultancy was focused on telecommunication and new media, they called it at that time, and new media was the internet. So that's how old I am. That there was a different name actually for the internet. And our job were just to consult mainly big telcos on finding business models for cell phone carriers or for going online. So interesting time for them. I went to the United States to help to open an office in Washington, D.C., where I lived a year. And then I came back and the first internet bubble bursted. So I was on the train when we got to the first height, but I also crashed down, which was a very interesting time. Also, when you see a company, not performing well and actually going down the drain. And I moved to my next assignment, which was EA at that time. And I don't know who of you is a gamer, but Electronic Arts, EA, is the leading company for interactive entertainment worldwide. And we fell in love, sort of.
EA and you, or
yeah. It's sometimes funny what happens in a job interview, and I think you realize it. It's like dating; you realize pretty fast if you fit together or not, or if there's a connection, despite the professional background you need to do a job. But so we felt it very fast, and I started with a job at our EA Partners department, where I integrated companies and products which didn't have an own distribution or marketing hub in Germany. And that was pretty cool because I could work with companies like Lego, Disney, LucasArts at a very young age. And I love to put it in a resume that I was able to market Indiana Jones and Star Wars. That makes me very proud.
This was not planned, but I just read the biography of the CEO of Disney, who is telling the stories about Indiana Jones and everything. So amazing.
Nice. Yeah, it was a great time, but very hard to work with these, rightly so, with these big IPs, because they need to protect them, and every bits and piece which goes outside in the world is like double, triple checked, and very hard to plan. But it was great, and I stayed with EA for 11 years in different roles, going through the marketing departments, then leading it, then becoming a marketing director, other countries, were coming on top. And at the end, I was leading a marketing region from Germany to Russia, with people on the ground in Russia, in Poland, Warsaw. So big stake, and I loved it. EA is a great company, and what especially was amazing, that I could go through different business cycles and business. So at the beginning, you were just selling packaged goods, and then it was streaming, and then it was free to play, and you would try to get money on top. And then at the end, it was like a Netflix sort of model. So very different business models, and I learned a lot, and very grateful for the time. And then Nike knocked on the door, and as a marketeer, if Nike knocks, you listen, because that was a dream come true, to become the marketing lead for the German-speaking countries for Nike. And I was responsible for everything you can imagine where there was a swoosh on. At least for the stuff which looked good, and I always say for that's what sales did, and I was not in charge. But really amazing time. I learned a lot about branding, about becoming a leader, performing and growing, and it was a very stressful time. But for me, I can just say I learned a lot, and I really enjoyed it. Also working on so many different fields, and interestingly, it is a big corp, and I always get asked, what can you really influence things when you're at Nike? And because everything is global, and you really can, if you go deep on the consumer, if you find insights, if you deliver them back and present them. It's like an elevator pitch. If you're a startup, if you pitch it the right way, you can change the world coming from a country. And that was a really interesting mix. So learned a lot then. I left Nike more than, I probably stayed there 4 years, and was ready to move. They offered me a job in the European headquarters. I didn't take it because I felt I need to do something else, and wanted to go in a different direction. Having been in a corporate world for now, 15 years, I wanted to see the startup world, and something which I hear doesn't work well very often. If someone from corporate goes into a small, medium-sized company, worked out pretty well for me. So I chose a startup called Fundov, where I was GM the last 3.5 years. It's a 300 people, 100 million revenue company. So quite a change. The revenue was as big as my marketing budget before, but I was in charge of it, and that was also what was interesting to me. So I could work with sales. I was responsible for sales, for marketing, for product also, and we worked a lot on backpacks, sustainable backpacks, and that was my job for the last 3.5 years. So that's me.
Wow.
Yeah, very cool. I hope I didn't make it too long.
No, I think we're very good in time, and I think it's also important for everyone who's listening. At least, hey, if we say, okay, this guy has some ideas for the next year, so it really makes sense to know, okay, who is this guy, and who and what makes him special, or let's say, what are his values, and what is driving him, and what has driven him. So
yeah, so it's 3 things. The last years, it's leadership and building company culture. It's branding and working with the consumer. So the marketing part, I would say. Well, that's probably the two things which are very important to me right now.
Well. Yeah. So if we take an outlook, everyone, Matthias is just mentioning it. We just reached over 70 participants, quite good, with everyone in vacation mood and evening before New Year's Eve. He's right, but I mean, hey, vacation is not vacation, I mean, not at least not like we know it usually. So maybe it makes sense to sit on the couch, have the iPad there, have the iPhone there, and listen to Dirk and Jihan and see if we can take some learnings out of this session. So
I love this, Jihan. It's I just started my own podcast about within my network to really I don't know. I felt just what you said. Every Netflix series has been watched, and I felt like, man, you have such a big network, and you don't know a lot about a lot of these people, and you also don't use your network. So why not starting conversations like we're having? I'm doing them now on a bi-weekly base and making a podcast out of it, just to learn more about each other, but also to celebrate the network we have. And maybe through the listening, someone in the network says, well, this guy or this lady has something I could, I have a question, this person might help me, or vice versa. And that's already an outlook for next year. But I think collaboration within our networks will be super, super important. And this is why I applaud you for starting this live session.
Thanks a lot, Dirk. So we got, in the meantime, I will always take a look on the questions in the chat, because they're coming a bunch of. So people like Ergo back. This is, I mean, our daughter is still not in the age, but when it's time, I think we will also watch out for purposeful and for really useful for kids bags. So no marketing, but it is how it is. And then we got a question. I mean, you mentioned, I don't know if you mentioned it, but it's actually going into that direction. How would you define a high performance company culture? Is being asked. One suggestion. Let's bring Dirk's point. I don't know, Dirk, how you feel, but let's bring your point.
I don't care.
And then go into the question, because then we have also some more questions. Because it's. I mean, we can do another Q&A session only for that. This is what I.
I'm happy to give a short answer, but you can also. I don't know. Can you do a parking lot, or can you collect some questions? Like, I think it's a really good one.
We have them here. I mean, we can either go into the question now, go into the questions. I see them all here, or we just, you know what? We do it agile, Dirk.
We just do it.
We just do it. We do it agile. Come on. This is the question. I too sad. I do not have the name, but let's feel free. Dirk, how would you define a high performance company culture?
Yeah. So I think it's let's take Nike as an example, where I would say it's a high performance company culture. It starts with one saying, which is in the company, like at a mantra, and the saying is, there is no finish line. And I think this saying shows what a high performance company is. So let's say you've just nailed it. You did the best pitch ever, the best sales. I don't know. You nailed it. You did the best presentation. The project is done. Check. New app, whatever. There is no finish line. So after this, there will be another one, and there will be another one. And that is the mantra of the company. You always need to get better, and it comes out of if you want to take it comes out of sports, right? An athlete, after being second or finishing the gold medal, if the athlete doesn't retire, would always say, "How can I get better? How can I get this millisecond with another shoe, with more training? What can I change to get better?" And if you do this, it will be very hard for a competitor to get you, because it's good to have competitors, because they will always come up with great ideas, and they will lead or follow, and it gives you great motivation to get better. But if you always have this mode, you will never get into a comfort zone. And I would say Nike is really good at this, to do that. And there are a couple of examples. You would, if you're really good, you would not stay in your role for very long. There was like a rule for like 3 years.
Okay.
You need a year to learn the role. You need a year to really start making it different, and in the third year you can elevate whatever your job is, but after that you get into a comfort zone, and Nike doesn't want that. So there is a lot of change naturally within the company, because a lot of movement. You move from role to role, and this way the performance stays very high. I would say another point is that Nike works with seasons, and you work on multiple seasons at the same time. There are a season, let's say spring or winter next year, and you're preparing it right now for sell-in, but at the same time you have a current season, you're advertising, you're preparing the next one to get launched. So you're working on a whole year with 4 product cycles at the same time, which is, I always described it as coming also from the outside in the company as jumping on a high-speed train, like an ICE where I lost my phone, and you need to hold it and try to climb in, and it will decide within probably the first 3 months if you make it or not. And if you make it, you make it. If not, you will probably leave within the first 3 months.
Okay, amazing. I just 2 major points which I've written down. I don't know how you guys feel, but there is no finish line. So high performance company culture means no finish line. And I really like that 3 years idea of Nike saying, okay, first year learn, second year change or deliver, and third year elevate what you've done, and then look out for the next step. Okay, so one more interesting question from Florian. Dirk, what does it take to deliver the perfect pitch, which you've also mentioned several times? So
yeah, so I would say first it's the idea. And at Nike, the idea usually has something to do with the consumer. So there you always start with the consumer and with the consumer insight. So you try to spend a lot of time with consumers, try to dig and find something out, like, I don't know, is there a new truth? Is something going on with, I don't know, young guys playing football? Is there a problem they're having? Is there, I don't know, do you see some new cultural movement? You need to find this first, and then you build an idea around it out of this consumer truth or insight, and you pitch it. And I would say it's like a good pitch in front of investors for a startup. I've actually read on LinkedIn today a very good article on how a pitch deck should look like, and I will look it up and share it later. It needs to be very short, and you need to get the people on the first slide. So if the first slide is shitty, you will lose it. And at Nike, it's a lot about entertainment. It's a lot about how you present, how passionate you are, and if you're not good at speaking or presenting, it will be very hard for you to pitch your idea. I know in this article it was funny. He said the first page is like a movie, should be like a movie poster. So it catches you. It tells a story on one in a very advertising sort of way in one picture, and it will catch you. If it's a good poster, it will catch you. And then comes of course some more details, and at the end the numbers, which have to be right. And, it's a very maybe this as a very short explanation of the question.
Thanks a lot, and Dirk, the questions are coming, and I mean let's go through the questions. I think it's really valuable also for the people who are telling them. And let's go that way. So we have another one from Rahman Dilsis. What is the most interesting and first difference coming into your mind in terms of leadership in a startup compared with leadership? I guess he's asking for leadership versus startup and corporate. So how would you? I mean, you have experienced the both of it somehow, right? Fondorf is a startup, so how would you make the difference between startup and
first I have to say I left Fondorf, so my assignment ended in October. So right now I'm in a in-between mode, finding something new, but I can still answer the question.
Yeah.
What was the question again?
Difference of leadership between leadership in a startup and leadership in a corporate environment.
Yeah. Okay. So I would say the base needs, and this is something, when we think about next year, what I think is going to be super important. I think the base is the same. As a good leader, you have to know yourself. You need to be aware of what your values are, who you are, what is important to you, and what your skill set is. And this should always be the base. Know yourself so you can find something which is right for you, and which fits your, let's call it positioning. I actually did the last week's a positioning sheet about myself. So you can use this as a filter and can take a look, whatever, if it's a startup or corporate, will that fit my skills and value set? So I think this is, and that will make you, if you know that, and if you're willing to be that person openly, you will become an authentic leader. And I think next year will be about the acceleration of authentic leadership. So you need to be yourself. Otherwise, you will not be able to gain trust of your teams. This needs to be the base. So out of that, then you can be the strict person if it's time to be the strict person, where you need to take decisions, or the times when you let go and let the teams evolve and build new projects, etc. And you can be the loose coaching person. But if you're just pretending to be it, if you pretend to be the funny guy because you think now you have to be funny, if you pretend to be strict because now you have to be strict, it will be wrong. So that's my first goal for today, and something I want to give you. Think about who you are and build yourself a positioning sheet, because this will be the base for everything. It's important to know who you are and what your skill set is. So back to the question. So that's the base. I think this is the same wherever you go. Being in a big corp, and Nike has a matrix organization. So there's a lot, you spend a lot of time managing the organization. So I had multiple managers above me, at least with dotted lines. There were different categories. They all also had general managers. They also had general managers on the European side. So you really had with leadership manage the matrix with all its complexity, and politics involved. And then at the same time, manage your team, help your team grow within that, sometimes protect them from the matrix, sometimes push them in so they can grow. And I would say this is probably the biggest difference, because in the startup, what I experienced at Fundov, of course, it's a smaller, we've been at the end 300 employees. It's a smaller environment. You are, as a GM, on top. Of course, there are founders where you have meetings and you talk about strategy, but it's about you. You decide pretty fast, and you need people who decide pretty fast. And I would say that is something I enjoyed, and which also would be my recommendation for larger companies. It have as less red tape as possible. In startups, it's easier, of course, because the organization is not as big. You don't have to take so many people with you. I would say that's probably the biggest difference. The politics, which I don't mean just in a bad way, but also managing the matrix at Nike. That's probably the biggest difference.
Mm-hmm. Thanks a lot, Dirk. I think it was well answered. Before coming to your topics now, just one last question, I'd say, as something like looking back, because Alexander Fromm from Volkswagen Group Component Services, I guess. I don't get me, Alex. If I did it wrong now, please don't get angry on me. But a Volkswagen colleague, let's say this way, Alex, Volkswagen colleague, is asking, how did you maintain a real team spirit in the times of COVID? I mean, he's a team leader himself, so nearly 1 year of remote team life. So how did you do that, as you're looking back, and then we will look on the front with your podcast?
Yeah, it's tough. I think it helped that in the months and years ahead, we built trust with our employees by having a very transparent leadership, by sharing whatever we could share. So there was, I believe, a good base when the lockdown came and when we all went to the digital home office situation. Some tactics, I don't know if it's very special, but we try to do digital town halls, so pretty much like this, where as often as we could, when the first lockdown came, sometimes weekly, to share where we are, to share what the financial situation of the company is, what we need to focus on, and it was it was pretty much like here. Every question was allowed. So first, I would probably talk a little bit, or one of my GM colleagues talk a little bit about the company, and then it was open round. And I could see, like I can see now on the right part of the screen, your question. They were all allowed, and we put them all on visible. And that is probably something which I think was really important to have transparency and not hiding something. If there was a question I couldn't answer, I would say it, but these very, very open and honest and transparent town halls, I would say they work pretty well to help everyone through that time, which was, if you remember, in March, very difficult because it was new to all of us, and we had a lot of people who were very afraid of going outside, and some with medical conditions. And so you had people all with their own mindset. Then at the same time, the company in a very difficult stage with the retail closed, and we were a company with a lot of cash coming in from retail. So it was challenging times. And I would say transparency, town halls, one-on-ones, and a lot of, so trying to do this. So you meet people in the office. What is super important is at the coffee machine, and you have a 5-minute conversation, and then you go. And this is also trust building, because you talk, you see each other, you see the GM walking through the office by my desk. That doesn't happen. So I would just start calling people each day and at random. It doesn't, not just my direct, but also other people, just to hear how they are, and if they're, if they have questions, or what's up, and is there something, and sometimes it was just a chat about how the kids are or whatever. And it is a time invest, but I think it was, or it is a time invest which is helpful, because again, it builds trust. And if you go through such a big change, commercially, personally, and then also the health part, so it's a dangerous situation, then I think it's needed.
Excellent. Alex, I hope this helped you, and Alex also answered with the correct naming of his company, Volkswagen Group Services. Sorry for that, and thank you for the hint, Alex. So Dirk, it's 20:35 now. We have 25 minutes, let's say plus minus a buffer left. I would suggest that you very shortly and briefly give us your 5 topics of the next year, which you have prepared for us. And then we have still a bunch of questions. I'm not sure if we really can meet them all, but we will try. But we will now give your 5 key points, five learnings for the next year. Maybe we deep dive into 1 or 2, and then they take some question. And I guess then it's already over, and I really enjoy it. I don't know how you guys feel, but yeah, Dirk, your points for us.
I really like it, and I appreciate the questions. Really good questions. So keep on asking. Yeah. So I actually put a lot of points I thought about before this session already in my answers, but I will try to keep it short. When Zian asked me, what do you think next year will happen, or what will the next year look like. Of course, I first thought about this year, and we can't. I'm so happy when this year's over. It was such a shitty year, excuse my language, for the world, for the health, the loss of freedom, the economic downside. So it was a shitty year, full stop. But I'm an Aquarius, and Aquarius, I was told, and this fits perfectly to me, are positively impatient. So I'm a positive person. So I was thinking about, so what are the positives out of COVID? What are the positives we together can probably take out for the next year? And I put the next year, 2021, under one umbrella. And for me, it's going to be the year of acceleration. Acceleration, going fast in very different points. I think you could put this on a lot of things. I just went through five different topics, and we'll go through them very fast. The first point for me is the acceleration of retail evolution. It's funny that I start with something old-fashioned like retail, but I'm a retail nerd and I love retail. And I think retail is so important for high streets, for inner cities. It brings a lot of traffic, revenue, safety, and life into cities. And it has been a crazy year for I worked a lot with retailers, and it has been a crazy year. But to be honest, a lot of retailers have not done a good job. They've done a shitty job. I've talked to retailers who haven't painted their store for 20 years and then painted and were super proud of it and think they've prepared now for the future. That's crazy. So COVID, maybe thankfully, COVID is an accelerator for retail in two ways. We will see in 2021. First, it will be an accelerator of retail death. So we will see a lot of retailers dying, but it will also be an accelerator of the resurrection of retail. I strongly believe, and you see a lot of positives coming out, that consumers are social people, and it doesn't matter how much they buy online. They want to get inspired also, and they want to go somewhere and experience something. So I think it will be the year of a big change in retail, where we see a bigger experience, bigger social shopping, more emotion-led, a bigger digital connection also, going omni-channel, changes in payment at retail. And I think we're going to see a lot of changes, which I think is positive. It would have happened, especially in Germany. Germany is always a bit later than other countries, but it would have happened that a lot of retail they die, and now it happens faster. But it will push us to prepare for change and to get better. So that's my first part is retail. The second part is the acceleration of new work. We all are stuck in home office, and it's something a lot of companies they didn't think it's possible, that we would just work from home, that we as managers would have to trust our employees that things get done, that we find ways to collaborate, also not being in the office. So I think there's no way back. This has happened now, and it's like I don't know, you get the new iPhone and there's a new camera. There's no way you want to go back to the old camera. Or you get a fast, high-speed internet, and it feels great for one day, but you forget it the next day, and it becomes your new normal. And there's no way you're going to go back to a slower line. I think this is it's not new work, it's the new normal. And next year it's gonna be the acceleration of that. So we will balance things out a little bit more. I think it's important to be in the office once in a while. It's important to work together and to especially for creative processes. But this is just one thing I think it will stay the same. I am now talking to a lot of headhunters and other companies because I am in the process of finding a new job. A big difference I see, and I think this will accelerate again next year, the location you are gets less and less important. talking to headhunters 4 years ago, it was always like, you want to have this job? Well, you have to move to Hamburg, you have to move to wherever. This becomes less and less important where you are, because you can always travel, you can go there for meetings, but I think this is the new normal, and we will see it. And a lot of it becomes also the trust to our employees, which leads me to my third point, the acceleration of authentic leadership. I've talked about it before. If there are tough times, if there are agile times in the VUCA world we're living in, you need to be a strong leader, and you can just be a strong leader if people trust you. You can be trusted if people know who you are. So if you hide who you are, then you will not be, I believe, you will not be a good leader. So you have to get to know yourself, write it down, and work, or who you want to become also. So you have a goal to work on. And I think this then will lead to the authentic you, and you will become an authentic leader. And this is probably my most important point, because leadership and growth of people is so to my heart, and I think it's the biggest thing you can do, and you can leave as a manager. It's, of course, it's sometimes revenue goals, and hey, we bet the 1 billion and da. But if you look back, if I look now back at 20 years of career, the big things I remember is when people told me, hey, you pushed me in the right direction, or I got my next job because I learned this through you, or so, where you really change your employees' life by helping them evolve and grow. Mm-hmm. So this is my homework for you guys. So work on yourself to become an authentic leader. The fourth one is the acceleration of consumer centricity. I've talked a little bit about it. Nike is very keen in this, to know the consumer, and to really know what's going on with the consumer. And the example I had earlier was very qualitative. Of course, this is where data is important, and every company who comes to a certain size will have to do it themselves. You can't rely on platforms. You have to own the consumer, know all the data about the consumer, to make sure not just to be better in your performance marketing and targeting, but to be sure you know who your consumer is. To then, that brings me to my 5 points next year, the acceleration of purpose and soul. To then talk to your consumer in the right and meaningful way. And this can just something I learned throughout the last years. It's not just talking about employees who are sense searching and purpose searching. It's also the consumer. It's, of course, you're looking for the cheaper price, but the consumer more and more is looking for brands and companies who know who they are, who are willing to tell who they are, who have a voice, who have a purpose. Companies like, I don't know, Ben & Jerry's, Nike, they're examples on top. They have an opinion. They know their consumers, they get the insights, and then they will go into storytelling to inspire their consumers. Of course, they want to sell through that, but just by knowing the consumer and then telling the right story through the knowledge you have for these people will then lead them to an action. And I've see a lot of companies who do this very badly. You probably have examples. Everyone have examples yourself with newsletters you get where you think like, this has nothing to do with me. So use the data, quantitative and qualitative, to know your consumer, and then you have to bring the soul in this. You have to have a brand voice, a purpose, and something to say for these consumers you have, and stories which will inspire them to keep connected with you and to keep buying with you. So overall, I think for next year, these 5 things will be super important: acceleration of retail, new work, authentic leadership, consumer centricity, and purpose and soul.
Dirk, thanks a lot. Year of acceleration. I guess, it really nails it. And I think, and I don't know how you guys who are listening feel, but I think the point with leadership, and especially what you mentioned there, the positioning sheet. I mean, I do not have a positioning sheet, and I've never thought actually about having a positioning sheet. I don't know how you guys feel if you have a positioning sheet, but Dirk, please tell us, how did you end up having a positioning sheet? How did you approach that, and how to find out what my positioning sheet could be? So how did you do that?
It's funny. Okay, I'm a very honest, transparent guy, so I always tell everything. So you get the you get the full story. So I was as jumping into leaving my last role and starting to think, what do I want to do next? I started to think about what is my purpose. So what if I go to my next role? What do I want to change? Which fields I want to work in? And I tried to work a little bit on my purpose as a manager. So what do I want to leave? What is my, if I leave the next role, what should be there? So I followed certain questions, which then lead me to a purpose I try to build. And it's questions like, hey, what makes you get up in the morning every day when you think about work? What are energy givers? What are energy takers in your professional life? So and I did this, and I was very proud because I did this, and it was the best version of my purpose, what I wanted to have. And then I had a conversation with a former boss of mine named, I don't know if he's here today, Oliver Kaltner. He used to be the CEO of Leica, and now it's the CEO of, I think the company's called Room. They're doing meeting rooms. I don't know, but it's a.
If you're here, please tell us in the chat.
Is he in the chat? Is he in the chat?
No, I don't know. But if he's here, if he's listening, then please tell us.
So I called him and we had a conversation. And he asked me, Dirk, can you? I don't want your CV. I know what you. I can see that on LinkedIn. I know what you did, and I know you did some great projects. I want your positioning sheet. Can you send me your positioning sheet, please? And then we can move on talking. And let's see, maybe I know someone who knows someone who you would fit right in. And I said, hey, okay, sure. I sent you my positioning sheet. And then I hung up, and I was like, what the fuck is a positioning sheet? I had no clue. So but I know what positioning is. I'm a brand guy. I know what a mission, vision, positioning is. That's something you do with a brand. So I just built one myself. I thought, okay, in a positioning, there's always a description about yourself. There's always this one sentence which covers who you are. In a very short sentence. So if we would meet and you'd say, Dirk, what sort of in one sentence, what manager are you? There's this one sentence. Then I put on there my values, my skills, and my passions. And at the end, where I want to go. So where I want to go in future, and all that on a one piece of paper. And I worked hard on it because it's like at the end it's like changing words and all
the word needs to fit, I guess, right?
Yes. Till you feel good. I did send it to Oliver, and he was like, Dirk, that's a really good sheet, and it looks so nice. So he gave me good feedback. He also gave me feedback, some things where he would think I should change things. And I also used it then to send it to people who know me. So former employees, former managers, because you always have a view of yourself, but others might have a different view. So it's like a sense check. Do you think this is me? Did you experience me like this? That was my question, and then I got feedback, and I made it better. And now when I actually put it in front of my CV. So before you dive into, manager of blah, 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 100 million, this is now on top of my CV, because it becomes my filter of companies I want to work for. Because if this doesn't fit, if the first page doesn't fit, it will not work from both sides.
Wow.
It's like your, I don't know, Tinder or
match or not.
Yeah. So if this doesn't fit, it doesn't matter if we grow revenue from 800 to 1.3 billion. It because I won't have fun, and I need fun and passion working in a job, and the other side also, and then it will not work.
Amazing. I mean, to be very clear, I mean, is it one sentence, or is it a bunch?
If you want, I can share it.
If you like, you can share your screen. We can.
You want to do it now? It feels like going through my.
No.
I can send it also. Is there a way to send it?
It's like this. We will post it later on. An example of how a positioning sheet should look like, or
there is no should, right? It needs to fit you. I for me, it fits me.
Yeah.
Yours might look a little bit different, right? But I think what it should have is it should show a little bit on who you are, what and what your values are, and try to bring it in. Try to build this sentence.
Yeah. Let's do it this way. We will make up and let's say something like an introduction and how to build your own positioning sheet. This is what we will. What is needed there? Values, skills, where you want to go.
Yeah, I'm happy to share mine. The only thing is there is all my personal address on top, and I don't.
We don't need that now.
I need to take this off first.
in the event, and maybe yours and some else example wise, and have it really as a really valuable thing for everyone here. I guess. I mean, hey, having your own positioning sheet or your own positioning. Is something very valuable, and I think we can take that out here. Dirk, thanks a lot.
No worries.
So, my colleague Apostolos Kitsos, he just asked a very long question. I tried to put that here, but it was too long. I will try to read it out loud very carefully, Dirk, that you can understand as well, and then we will try to tackle it. How should be best in charge of a functional unit, the best expert in this field or experienced general manager, and why? I don't get it very well, but I will try to again. And it goes on. How does it fit with new leadership? Apple focuses on functional organization, where the best experts are in charge or leading a functional unit, is e.g. AI, hardware, service, or whatnot. And focus is to deliver the best possible and innovative products or key function. Tim Cook occupies the only position where everything meets. So
I'm not the best person to judge Apple, because I've never worked for them. But there are so many different ways of organizing organizations, and I've learned another interesting one, which is, I think, used, for example, by Trivago. In Düsseldorf, in German. I don't know if everyone knows Trivago. It's a travel hotel booking. It's like Expedia or a site to book hotels. So they have teams where you have product owners who work on, who really bring the project and the product. They're the best. They have the deepest knowledge. They work with their agile teams to bring this forward. But then they also have people who are just in charge of people management. So they're like the manager, but forget the word manager. Their topic is within this ground to help everyone to, I don't know, get the right trainings, who do together with the functional manager the conversations on how they are. But there's like one person who tries to take the management to-dos, let's say, away, so they can focus on the product. So I don't know, there's so many different ways of organizing. I found that very interesting, because I don't know if I could do that, because it's too much fun. But I found it very interesting, because maybe in, like you described, maybe, I don't know if this is like Apple works, but someone who's has the best knowledge about the product and who can probably build the best next iPhone is maybe he or she is not the best person to lead the team to get to that goal, because there's just this functional knowledge, the expert as in programming or engineering, or I don't know. So I truly believe that if you are a leader of a group, you need that skill set. And if you're a company where you value, let's say, the expert part higher, I think it's totally okay. But then I think this person needs another person to support, to make sure that the team is built the right way. Nike had a very interesting way also on how you were judged as a leader. You were always so your rating you would get after a year there were two components, both 50%. One component was the business part. So did you meet your business goals, the objectives, everything which was laid out before the year. The second part, also 50% of your rating, was called people. So how have you been as a manager? How did you work to become a better manager, to let your people grow, to bring them into the next role? And I think that just shows how much, how big this people part was valued in this company. And I think it's a pretty strong sign. It's as highly valued as the business part.
Wow.
So I always enjoyed being in companies like this, where of course you have to hit your numbers, and if not, you have problems. That's the same everywhere. But I don't know. That was a tough question. I don't know if that answered the question.
Apo, this was really a tough question, but really thanks a lot, Apo, for asking that question. I guess I mean, we can say it's a topic in every huge corporation, I guess, right? So the how to organize the teams. I mean, if you only have two pizza size teams, so that they are so small that you can do it with two pizzas for lunch, then fine. But as long as you are growing, and I mean, sooner or later you are growing as a corporate. It gets a really tough topic. So, Apo, thanks a lot. We are hitting the time already, but we still have some more, for that point, relevant question. I would take now two questions which are in the pipeline, and then we will slowly but safe, as we say in German, come to an end. But if someone says, no, I just listened an hour long to you, and I still have this one question, please write in the chat. I guess we will make that happen as well. And later on, we will put this positioning sheet intro for you guys in the event as well.
You can also always, connect on LinkedIn. You can also write me later. No worries.
Yeah,
I'm on holiday right now, but I will answer every question. I will answer everyone who writes me. No worries.
I don't know if you should have said that, but guys, write them all. The man and see if he really replies. Just kidding, but yeah, he will definitely. So Rebecca is asking, Rebecca Zünderbruch, what skills and knowledge should future leaders have or train to attain? apart from authenticity, as you just mentioned before? So what else should, I mean, as someone who's more, let's say, more junior, who just started the job and who is trying to accelerate quite fast and has ambitions and goals, what would you give someone to say, okay, watch out for this, learn that, and be good in that? So what would you say there, Dirk?
I would say a big part is communication. So it's probably the biggest part, where a lot of things can go right or can go wrong, and everyone experience it, right? When you go into a meeting and you don't find the right words and things go totally crazy. So everything which helps you to become a better communicator helps. And it's actually hard to say, do this course or that course. I think a lot of things come with experience. So if you had, there's maybe a base, listening, to learn to listen, for example, right? That's super important. To be with your the person you're in the room with, and not doing 20 things else or thinking about the next meeting. So learn how to listen, learn how to communicate. That is pretty important, I believe. Yeah, I would say that's a strong. And then a lot of things will come through experience. It's hard. How can you train someone for the first moment? You have to let a person go. You have to fire someone. You can read all the books. You can do trainings beforehand, but it will go different than you.
You might expect.
This is why I think the basement is really, really important, because this will help you to go in also difficult conversations like this, to help you with communication. I would say be transparent, as transparent as you are. There are always things you can't really tell because of rules or secret things, but I think communication is key.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, I totally agree with you. There is this very good advice which I got from my very first boss, Georg Lacqua from IBM, who once told me, when I just as a freshman joined IBM, he said, Gian, there is a very special reason why you have 2 ears and only 1 mouth.
Good reminder.
Yeah, it was so good. And ever since, I tried to stick on that, to listen more and talk less. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So yeah, last question, Dirk. I'd say it's a good closing question, actually. What are you guys planning to learn in 2021? The question addresses the both of you. So Dirk, I know what I will try to learn, but what about you? What are you looking forward to learn in 2021?
It's funny. I redid my Big Five. I don't know if you guys have read the Big Five for Life, but I redid my Big Five. So things I want to learn in my fulfill in my life, and I want to work on, and it gives you sort of a goal, a life goal, and things you can look back because you've done it, but you have to set yourself a goal. I think that's always very important. And I can share one or two. So and I already started now to work on them, but I will move on next year to work on them. So one is for me, I say I want to always help people to grow professionally in my environment as a manager, and I always thought I want to actually expand that. So I started this podcast, which is called, it's in German right now, but there will be episodes in English coming up. It's called You Drink, You Learn, because it's a bar-like conversation, casual conversation with people out of my network about career and things like that. And that is something I just started, and I'm learning it. I had no idea, like we're doing now this live thing, how to do a podcast. And I've just, the quality on the first one was so bad, but then, I learned to get a better mic and how to get it online and to do a logo and to cut. And it's so much fun. And I'm learning so much out of it because of the conversation, but also of uploading it. So I want to move on with this. And a second thing, also I started this year and I want to learn mastering a little bit. I started to learn boxing. Because again, getting myself out of the comfort zone. I was never really in a fight as a kid. I'm not a physical person, and I said, okay, I need to do something. This is getting out of my comfort zone for me, and I started boxing. So I got a personal trainer, and we're now starting to get physical. And it's an amazing sport for your head. It just, I don't know, it makes me crazy how there are synapses which what to do with your legs, thinking about strategy, movements, and I don't know. It's something I want to keep on doing next year.
If you would have been grown up in Dortmund, Nordstadt, or somewhere else, this would have been some part of your childhood. But no, just kidding. Yeah. Okay.
What about you, Jan?
What about me? Yeah, I'm also looking forward to learn a lot of new things within my company. I mean, Porsche is transforming like hell. Everything is changing, digital electrification, and I will really try to bring valuable assets in with what I am good at, and what I still can accelerate as well. And one of the topics which I will accelerate is this, what we're doing right now here. This is right now just a pilot, an MVP. We're trying it, we're doing it. I don't know, we have more than 100 comments. We have a lot of people having joined, and I will get my stuff together to somehow organize that or let's say carry that on in a, I don't know if it would be a format, a show, whatever, a logo, whatnot. But I will try to. I mean, this is the future, right? This is digital. This is new work. This is what we. This is empathy. This is reflection. This is all that what we're talking about is happening here.
Yes.
And I really want that to institutionalize this, and to have it as something where people can say, okay, you know what, I will join the session of Gian or the show of Gian on LinkedIn, and I will have a nugget again for my career, for my life, for my growth, and I would really be happy to take that forward. So this will be something which I will be on a learning journey for the upcoming year.
Amazing. I think this is spot on. So because you learn something, but you're also giving something. It's about this network collaboration I was talking on. LinkedIn is not just, it should not just be a place where you said, hey, we hit this another target and this is the best campaign we ever did. Yeah, if this is just the only topics we post, it becomes another Insta where you have to go. And I think it has a great opportunity for us being connected to collaborate, to listen, to learn, to chat, and that's also part of becoming a leader. And as we just learned, it's going to be the year of acceleration of leadership. So it fits perfectly.
True. Dirk, I've written down a lot of things. I will, before closing it, I would like to make at least my essentials. I don't know how the others feel, but I guess everyone has written down some stuff. The 3 years rule: learn, change, elevate. There is no finish line. And your positioning sheet: values, skills, passion, where I want to go, and transparency, communication, and authenticity. This is what the keywords which I've written down here, and I guess this all describes the session and you as a person, also your personality as a manager, as Dirk, very well.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. It was great. I love these things. As I said, it's a great test, but it didn't feel like a test to me. You should really keep on doing it, as I will still trying to get better on my podcast. So
exactly, guys, if you are looking forward to, or if you are eager to learn more about Dirk, about his sessions, about what he did, you drink, you learn. This is the title of his podcast on Spotify. He's
or wherever, it's on all platforms, but you can also just connect via LinkedIn and feel free. You're going to see it.
Exactly. Do it. Exactly. Excellent. Then nothing more left to say except of thank you all. It's December 30th. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve. People are on holiday, but still we had more than 100 comments, more than 150 people joining. Dirk, we had you here with us. I'm really thankful, and it was amazing. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Dirk, and see you next time in Jihan's talks together with whomever, but maybe also Dirk in the future again. Let's see where Dirk is going and how we will end up together again.
Have a great 2021 and stay safe, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.